continuing our conversation with Mr. Hal Dodrell on effective governance in independent schools. And Hal, I know you have worked with a number of boards, not just as a member of boards, but you've gone into schools and spent some time working with boards. One of the areas that boards often struggle with is when there's a perception among the board that the head of school might not be doing exactly what the board needs them to do or wants them to do. What are some of the common conflicts that you see in this relationship with boards and heads of school as you talk to other schools and maybe even within your own service on the board?
The last thing any of us want to do in our professional life or at a school board is to do a great job but not have it be the job they wanted us to do. So clearly setting the expectation together with the head is imperative, so that the chance for that is very, very small. I also think that there can be some confusion created when a board chair is kind of out with making their own feelings known around the community or their own ambitions known for the school without the head. And sometimes people can perceive that there's conflict when in fact there is none. And so that's why I say channeling communication through one person to me alleviates a lot of those issues.
When it comes to setting expectations, the board obviously has certain expectations of the head of school, the only employee that a board supervises as a whole. They have expectations, and communicating those expectations effectively and making sure that the head of school understands how they will be evaluated is very important. Do you have suggestions on, obviously communication is important, but do you have suggestions on specific ways to ensure that those expectations are laid out in a manageable and doable way on an annual basis, on an ongoing basis? How often, and what are your thoughts with communicating expectations?
Sure, several things there. It is vitally important, in my view, for the head to be the driver of the strategic process, so that as that plan is developed, it's really as much, it's the board's plan, but it's the head's plan. Right there, you eliminate a lot of confusion and miscommunication about expectations. It's written down, everyone agreed to it, everyone agrees this is where we're headed. So then what I've done from that point forward is sat down with the head at least on an annual basis. And the goals for that head for the upcoming year are really the goals for that plan for the school. And so they're very easy to write down on a piece of paper. And they should be fairly easy to measure. And as long as the head and the chair are talking as issues arise, to me it just minimizes the chance for problems later. Another is, and again I think this falls more on the chair's shoulders than on the board as a whole, but I have always felt it is important to have some time with the head to talk about personal development issues, not just school issues. Okay, how are you feeling about this? How are you doing? What are the impediments to helping you do a better job? Talk to me a little bit about what we can do as a board to be more effective. Where do you see us falling down a little bit? What could we do to help here? it's a two-way street. And I think at very good schools, and where I've witnessed good governance, those conversations are taking place. And then, again, I mentioned earlier where there needs to be a forum for a head of school, and I think for a chair, to discuss emerging thinking, new ideas without just being judged right away, just a forum where you can just throw ideas on the wall and let's talk about pros and cons. In the full knowledge that this isn't just going to get spread around and talked about.
Another question that we probably should discuss, and we've alluded to it in a couple of the other questions that I've asked and discussions that we've had, but focusing a little more specifically on the idea of confidentiality within the boardroom and what it means within the context of the board, understanding that you will have conversations at football games with people, with other board members on issues going on. But at the same time, there has to be a certain safety within the boardroom for trustees to be able to speak their mind without fear of that being misrepresented outside of the room. Do you have thoughts related to that particular topic?
Yeah, I think best decision making takes place when everyone in a boardroom feels comfortable to say whatever it is they want to say. And I think every board member should be drawn out or drawn into a discussion, certainly about every major issue, if that literally means going around the room and having everyone speak. But they need to have the freedom to speak their mind and say exactly how they feel, because I think that makes for better decision making. Even if those positions may turn out to be a minority position, it helps us make a better decision overall. I've seen that time and time again. But at its core, if there's a fear that what you say may be disclosed outside the boardroom, or in fact it is happening, what really happens there at the core is that you've eroded both authority and trust, the two key issues that I mentioned, of which governance is all about. And if you do either one, you've hurt your school. And so it is a vital part of being a trustee that not sharing information inappropriately has just got to be at the top of your list. And again, you mentioned this. It's so easy to slip up because these are our friends that we sit next to at the ball game. These are parents of our child's best friend in our school. It's so easy and to slip up, and the temptation can be so great. But boy, nothing can be more damaging in my view. And so it makes for better decision making, because to me, minority views always help mold a better decision at the end of the day. It lets every trustee know that their opinion is valued and should be, and it keeps authority and trust intact. And without any of that, you're not going to be a great school.